Yesterday, how many verses you spoke?
I don't know if you're talking to me, but I didn't understand you.
Um, Today I did not join. How many verses you spoke yesterday?
Oh, I'm not sure how many were on yesterday. I can't remember.
Oh,
I think for sure there was Leela Manjari and Govardhan Leela. They did a lot of the talking. I'm not sure if there were other people in the background or not.
so you didn't remember which verse till which verse you spoke about?
All I heard was Leela Manjari and Govardhan Leela. I don't know if there were other people on the phone or not. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Actually, when Soumya Mataji is speaking, it feels as if she's speaking from a very far away place. Her voice is not clear.
Hare Krishna.
Uh,
Hare
is
Krishna.
it? 1 second, Mataji, I'll check. Oh, I'm even, it's not in speaker mode also. I don't know why you are not able to hear.
I can hear you very clearly. In fact, you're
I
more clear than anybody else,
I can
typically.
hear you clearly, but there is an echo.
Yes, so there
Yeah,
might
there is some echo.
maybe there's okay. I got it. Maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I should mute, or maybe not. Let's see. If we're not going to speak, I
Now,
guess.
now it is okay, Mataji. Now there is no echo. Previously, there is some echo.
Yes, now it's clear. Soumya Mataji, I can hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. I don't know where the voice in between, so. Mm.
Okay,
Mataji,
Mataji.
how
So
many
yes.
yesterday I did not join, so how many verses you uh speak you spoke yesterday?
It was 8 through 14 we covered yesterday, and today it's
Verse
15 through
15.
18.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mataji.
It's 15 through 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's right. Oh boy. Okay, Mataji's. Now that we have like 5 people, I guess I could start with the prayers. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganananjana Shalakaya Shakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Ayam Rupa Kadamayam Tarati Sva Parantikam Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Okay, Matajis, today we're reading from Canto 4, Chapter 1, texts 15 through 18. Okay. Text. Would anybody, I usually don't do this, but would anybody care to read the text 15? If not, that's okay. I mean, I can do 15. All right, I'll do text 15, and then if someone else decides they want to read, please feel free, to let me know afterward that you want to read. I think Dita Shanta Mataji is also getting on today too, or at least she told me she was getting on. So she might want, there she is. Yeah, she might want to read too. Okay, text 15. Atre patni anasuyatrin janye suyashasaha sutan datam durvasasam somam atmesha brahma sambhavan. Translation. Anasuya, the wife of Atri Muni, gave birth to three very famous sons, Soma, Dattatreya, and Durvasa, who were partial representations of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma. Soma was a partial representation of Lord Brahma. Dattatreya was a partial representation of Lord Vishnu, and Durvasa was a partial representation of Lord Shiva. Purports and translations by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In this verse, we find the words Atma, Isha, Brahma, Sambhavan. Atma means the super soul, or Vishnu. Isha means Lord Shiva, and Brahma means the four-headed Lord Brahma. The three sons born of Anasuya, Dattatreya, Durvasa, and Soma, were born as partial representations of these three demigods. Atma is not in the category of the demigods or living entities because he is Vishnu. Therefore, he is described as Vibhinamsha, Bhutanam. The super soul, Vishnu, is the seed-giving father of all living entities, including Brahma and Lord Shiva. Another meaning of the word Atma may be accepted in this way. The principle who is the super soul in every Atma, or one may say, the soul of everyone, became manifested as Dattatreya, because the word Amsha, part and parcel, is used here. In Bhagavad Gita, the individual souls are also described as parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Super Soul. So why not accept that Dattatreya was one of those parts? Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are also described here as parts. So why not accept all of them as ordinary individual souls? The answer is that the manifestations of Vishnu and those of the ordinary living entities are certainly all parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and no one is equal to him. But among the parts and parcels, there are different categories. In the Varaha Purana, it is nicely explained, excuse me, that some of the parts are Svamsha and some are Vibhinamsha. Vibhinamsha parts are called Jivas, and Svamsha parts are in the Vishnu category. In the Jiva category, the Vibhinamsha parts and parcels, in the Vibhinamsha parts and parcels, there are also gradations. That is explained in the Vishnu Purana, where it is clearly stated that the individual parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord are subject to being covered by the external energy, called illusion or Maya. Such individual parts and parcels who can travel to any part of the Lord's creation are called Sarvagata and are suffering the pangs of material existence. They are proportionately freed from the coverings of ignorance under material existence according to different levels of work and under different influences of the modes of material nature. For example, the sufferings of jivas situated in the mode of goodness are less than those of jivas situated in the mode of ignorance. Pure Krishna consciousness, however, is the birthright of all living entities, because every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. The consciousness of the Lord is also in the part and parcel. And according to the proportion to which that consciousness is cleared of material dirt, the living entities are differently situated. In the Vedanta Sutra, the living entities of different gradations are compared to candles or lamps with different candle power. For example, some electric bulbs have the power of 1,000 candles. Some have the power of 500 candles. Some the power of 100 candles. Some 50 candles, etc. But all electric bulbs have light. Light is present in every bulb, but the gradations of light are different. Similarly, there are gradations of Brahman. The Vishnu Svamsha expansions of the Supreme Lord in different Vishnu forms are like lamps. Lord Shiva is also like a lamp, and the supreme candle power, or the 100% light, is Krishna. The Vishnu Tattva has 94%. The Shiva Tattva has 84%. Lord Brahma has 78%. And the living entities are also like Brahma. But in the conditioned state, their power is still more dim. There are gradations of Brahman, and no one can deny this fact. Therefore, the words Atmesha Brahma Sambhavan indicate that Dattatreya was directly part and parcel of Vishnu, whereas Durvasa and Soma were parts and parcels of Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Okay, that was text 15. Would someone care to read text 16?
Sure, I can read.
Oh, thank you, Leela Mandri.
16. Viduro vacha atre grihe surashreshta sthiti utpatti ananta hetava kinchich chikarshavo jata etat akyahi me guru. Translation. After hearing this, Vidura inquired from Maitreya, "My dear master, how is it that the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of the whole creation, became the offspring of the wife of Atri Muni?" Purport. The inquisitiveness of Vidura was quite fitting, for he understood that when the supersoul, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva all appeared to the person of Anusuya, the wife of Atri Muni, there must have been some great purpose. Otherwise, why should they have appeared in such a way?
Thank you, Leela Manjri. Would someone care to read text 17? We have 17 and 18, maybe either
I can read
Shanta or Manasi Ganga Mataji or Sonia Mataji. Oh, there's several people on the call today.
Yes, Mataji, I can
Yeah,
read
I can read
17.
17 Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
You can read Mataji, Samya Mataji.
You can go ahead, Mataji. You can read next.
Okay, so text 17. Maitreya Uvacha Brahmana Chodita Shrishtrau Atrir Brahma Vidambara Saha Patyam Yayau Vriksham Kuladrim Tapasi Stitaha. Translation. Maitreya said, when Lord Brahma ordered Atri Muni to create generations after marrying Anasuya, Atri Muni and his wife went to perform severe austerities in the valley of the mountains known as Riksha. Samya Mataji, you can read the next verse. Thank you.
Text 18. Tasmin prasuna tagaka palasa shoka kanane varbhi sarvabhir utkuste nirvindhyaya samantataha. Translation. In that mountain valley flows a river named Nirvindhya. On the bank of the river are many Ashoka trees and other plants full of palasa flowers. And there is always the sweet sound of water flowing from a waterfall. The husband and wife reached that beautiful place.
Thank you so much for reading today. Thank you very, very much. Okay, I guess I'll go back and try to make sense of this. Text 15. So, we're learning, this is the genealogical table of how the world became populated way back, from the first man, etc. And we have here the daughters of Manu and how that's been spreading. So we have Anasuya, who is the wife of Atri Muni, and they gave birth to Somya, Dattatreya, and Durvasa. Okay, and we learn here in the translation that they were partial representations of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma. Soma was a partial representation of Lord Brahma, Dattatreya, a partial representation of Lord Vishnu, and Durvasa, a partial representation of Lord Shiva. So we know that these three lords are demigods, and they're pretty powerful. They're actually very powerful demigods. And in here, we're learning that certain people, were the descendants of certain, some more advanced people than others spiritually. Okay, and so, just as we are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these three sons were like parts of Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma. Okay, and so, however, we have to make a distinction between Lord Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. Okay, and so this is important. You see that first verse, it says Atma Isha Brahma Sambhavan. If you look in the Sanskrit part at the top, the last verse says Atmesha. So it's kind of mixed in there. It's Atma and Isha together there. So Atma is the super soul or Vishnu. So it's not in the same, it's not in even in a category of demigods, actually. If I'm not correct, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Lord Vishnu is the Lord, or so, at least I know in India, many consider Lord Vishnu to be the Lord himself. And so each of these sons were partial representations of the three demigods. But now this word Atma, meaning the super soul, it's not in the category of demigods. Okay, so just a minute, I'm trying to remember. Soma, okay, was, if I'm not mistaken, it's Soma who is part of Lord Vishnu, or the super soul. And so we know that Vishnu was the seed-giving father of all the living entities, including Brahma and Lord Shiva. So one moment, let me grab my thought here. Yeah. So that Soma was a partial representation of Brahma, Dattatreya, a partial representation of Lord Vishnu. So we can't really say, you know, Prabhupada places a question here and he says, well, so if Dattatreya was part and parcel of Lord Vishnu, can't we consider him also, you know, on the same level, like in any ordinary living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord? Okay. What Prabhupada is bringing out here is that there are different categories of beings. Okay. And so it's explained that there are some of the parts are called Svamsa or Svamsha, and some are Vibhinamsha. Okay. And so we, Jivas, the Jivas are Vibhinamsha, and Svamsha are in the Vishnu category. So in the Vishnu category, we have Dattatreya. So this individual is not in the same category as the other Jivas, okay? Or he's in the Svamsa category. Whereas the Jivas, like ourselves, we're in the Vibhinamsha categories. And so each category has different gradations. We're not all the same spiritually. We're not all at the same level. As Jivas, however, as being parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what we all do have in common is that we're subject to being covered by the external energy or illusion. Okay, we're in illusion or Maya. And we are suffering the pangs of material existence. All of us are, to some degree or other. Okay. However, and how we get free, it's explained here. It depends upon our different levels of work under the different modes of material nature. So, and it's very true what is said here, that certain jivas that are, like when they're born, if they're situated in the mode of goodness right from the time they're born, they tend to suffer less than those jivas that are situated in the mode of ignorance. Boy, I must have been in the mode of ignorance from the time I was a child. Very interesting, because yeah, some people we all suffer, but some suffer more than others. And this is, they used to try to explain that in Christianity, but it's really interesting here. It's pretty clear if you go into the detail. Some people are in the mode of goodness, some are in the mode of ignorance, some are in the mode of passion. Okay. But so we're talking about all jivas, all of us suffer, but to different degrees. And depending upon where our consciousness is when we're born. And from then on, how we develop our consciousness. So if we practice Krishna consciousness, but let's say it's mixed and it's not yet pure Krishna consciousness, we're still going to get some level of reaction for things we might do that are, if we commit an anartha, or if we're just not doing it in pure Krishna consciousness. And so those who are practicing Krishna consciousness purely, I don't think that they suffer. I think that what they have is what's called minor inconveniences. I think of our gurus, they're so purified. Doesn't mean that they, don't undergo austerities. And I mean, my Guru Maharaj had COVID and he was very, very sick, but he didn't react to that whatsoever. He just took that as an inconvenience. He said, well, if I go, I go. And if I don't, well, then I'll keep, then I don't. He said, he doesn't worry about it. So to be at that level of pure Krishna consciousness, that's the birthright of all of us, of all living entities within this material existence. But why is it our birthright? Because we are parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we can all reach that if we are practicing pure Krishna consciousness. And so whatever level of consciousness is in the Supreme Personality of Godhead also exists within the jiva. The only problem is each one of us, depending on where our consciousness is, it depends on how covered we are in material nature or in illusion. And so once we get cleared of this material contamination, then we have the possibility of practicing pure Krishna consciousness, because that is our birthright, due to who we are. And we have to know who we are. And that was the first thing, that was said to me by any of the gurus or any of the devotees whom I had met at the very beginning. It was, well, do you know who you really are? That is the question. And and Guru always says to us, it's a question of finding out who we really are in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and learning how to love the Lord. And so this happens in different degrees. Now, in different books, okay, that was explained in the Vishnu Purana about the living entities or the jivas. But if in the Vedanta Sutra, I have not read it yet, but it says that Prabhupada gives comparison. He has uses a lot of analogy. And how can we refer to these gradations? I like the lamp better than the candle, actually, because sometimes it's not easy to know how much power is coming out of certain candles, I guess, by quantity. Obviously, if you have 1,000 candles, it's going to give more light or more power than will 500 candles or will 25 candles, etc. And the same idea you can use with a lamp, okay, and the light bulb. And so there's certain gradations of power within the material world. Now, when we also refer to Brahman, okay, there are different degrees of the expansions of the Supreme Lord. Okay. So it says that Lord Shiva is also like a lamp, and the supreme candle power, or the 100% light, is Krishna. Okay. So in Vishnu Tattva has 94% power, Shiva Tattva 84%, Lord Brahma has 78%, and we are also like Brahma, but because we're in this conditioned state in the material world, or under this illusion and under the three modes of material nature, our power is even dimmer, much dimmer, I would say, than Brahma. Even Brahma is subject to illusion. Not so much. It only happened rarely. I think it only happened once, probably, that he was in illusion. But it can still happen to him. So what to speak of human, the jivas, the human beings. And so we understand then through that Atmesha Brahma Sambhavan that those three sons were different because they came from different fathers or different people. Okay, if Dattatreya was much higher in power because he came from Lord Vishnu. Okay, whereas Durvasha and Soma were parts and parcels of Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, who are demigods. So we have to know who we're talking about here, just because, the fact that they came from three different levels of, what word would I use here? Or three different gradations, let's say, in consciousness. The children who are born of them will also have what they have, what those three have them, what Lord Shiva has Dattatreya will have. Likewise, Durvasa and Soma through Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. But we know that Lord Vishnu is not in the category of demigods. He's Vishnu, okay? He's the super soul, and he's the seed-giving father of all living entities. So naturally, the seed that he gives, or in his descendants, they're going to be more like him. Now, what, of course, they do with that as they go along is a different story. But the power, they're empowered with certain levels of consciousness, I would imagine, based on who they came from, and then how they act in their own lives. And of course, the jiva being Vibhinamsha, we are very covered by the external energy. So we have a lot more work to do than these demigods. Okay. So you can see just by this explanation how everything has a certain gradation. But the good thing is that because we are parts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our birthright is for us to become, to become perfect. I mean, to practice pure Krishna consciousness, let me put it this way, and to go back home to Godhead. And of course, the others are also jivas too, so they have that, birthright also. Okay, that's all I think I understood in 15, and please correct me if I made a mistake here. And And then, the other three were not very, we're going to find out. So we have these three, we have Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and Vidura is asking, wait a minute. These are pretty powerful, demigods. They create, they maintain, or destroy the whole creation. How could they be the offspring of Atri Muni and Anasuya? And so we have to understand that there was a greater purpose for them. They had to serve a particular purpose. And I think we understand that Lord Brahma had ordered Atri Muni to create generations after marrying Anasuya. Okay. And so to do that, he and his wife went to perform austerities in the valley of the mountain known as Riksha. Now, I don't know this whole story. I haven't read ahead. So I would imagine, let me see here. For them to have given birth to such powerful deities or demigods, they had to have done something for that to happen. And I'm getting the impression here that it says here that they had to perform some austerities. I haven't read ahead, so I don't know, maybe it's not true, but it seems like that's what they're going to do. In that mountain valley flows a river named Nirvindya. On the bank of the river are many Ashoka trees, etc., blah, 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 blah. The husband and wife reached that beautiful place. So up to that point, we're going to find out how this occurred, that these two were so blessed to give birth to these three, Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. Okay, Matajis, that's kind of what I'm understanding with my, so please feel free to either correct me, add to it, change it, whatever is necessary. Thank you, Hare Krishna. I'm going to mute for a minute.
Thank you, Govardhan Leela Mataji. Yeah, quite an elaborate description. Actually, when we went to Yatra with my spiritual master, we actually went to this place where Atri and Anusuya lived in the forest. So we went to that place where they gave birth to their 3 children. And there is a temple of Dattatreya at that place.
Mataji, is it a place near Chitrakuta, Atri Anasuya? That is one. I think I remember 2 places we visited. Dattatreya temple is in different area.
I don't know the exact, I don't remember the exact name of the place, Mataji, but it was.
Yeah, I also remember that Dattatreya Maharaj explained, gave the class in that place. And then I remember near Chitrakuta we visited some with all the pastimes and all that. Is that the Atri Anasuya place or different couple?
I did not go to many yatras. This one was it was in South India yatra.
Yeah, that I remember. Chitrakuta also there is one place with all the pastimes. I don't know what is that
Yes,
again.
Mataji. Actually, we saw in Chitrakoot also there is Atriya and Suya ashram,
Yeah,
and then
ashram.
on the top of the hill, we went on the hill. Yeah, just a little bit on the hill, and then there is also the small Dattatreya temple. Now we went
Yeah,
around the temple. It is painted blue color. Yeah,
yeah.
very
There
small
is
temple.
nicely pastimes with
Just
the
very small.
pictures,
Yeah.
and very
Mhm.
beautiful decorated. Mm.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. But I also remember what my sister is speaking about. Actually, I don't remember the name of the place also, but
Yeah,
um, yeah, but
that
I can't remember the name. We went to that
mm,
place also. Yeah, maybe my husband will remember, but I don't now remember the name. I think it is also the same place where, uh, well, like somebody was purified, right? I think it is the same place.
Yeah. Indra,
Indra,
Indra was
Indra.
cursed and he was purified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the name was also similar, but I don't now remember. Anyway, maybe we will remember it after a little bit.
The pronunciation is Dattatreya. How to pronounce it for me, please?
You said it right, Govardhanila Mataji, Dattatreya.
Oh, it's right, Dattatreya. Okay, okay. I thought I was pronouncing it wrong. Okay.
thank you, Mataji. It's very nicely you described beautifully the 15th verse, very detailed way. I feel some philosophies in between, like Vibhinamsa, that is so difficult to understand, that tattvas and things like that. But it's very nice you described.
Thank you, Gordon Leela Mataji, for the very nice class. We always look forward to hearing from you. Like other devotees said, I also felt the same thing, that like it was so nicely explained and everything was like in so much detail. Um, although even in yesterday's class I felt the same thing, like in these verses it's more because of the lineage that we are speaking about. There is not a lot of story that's involved in this in these verses, but somehow to find that continuity, I thought that that was very nice. So thank you so much for the very nice class once again.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Govardhan Leela, for a beautiful class. You always have a nice way of explaining things, and your reading is always so nice and clear as well.
Thank you, dear heart. Oh. So let me ask this. I know this is going to sound very, very stupid because I should know this by now. But I still want to ask it. We know that Lord Vishnu. He is the Lord, correct? But he's also a demigod. I get confused with that one. I know I should know this, but I still get confused. So if somebody could clear that up for me, because there are people in India, it's my understanding that there are people in India that don't consider Krishna the supreme personality of God. They think Lord Vishnu is. But we know that Vishnu is Krishna? I don't know. I'm confused though.
Where did you read, Mataji, that he's also a demigod?
Well, see that's where my problem is. I thought he was because um, the three of them they're always referred to in the as the three. So it's like I always thought that he was a demigod, but I know he's not, right? He's Krishna.
Mhm.
It says Atma is not in the category of the demigods or living entities
Mhm.
because he is Vishnu.
Actually, yeah, it's only through Prabhupada's books that these distinctions are made very clearly. But actually, they are called Guna avatars. Lord Vishnu, um, Brahma, and Shiva. They are in the process of creation, um, to take control of the three modes. The Lord expands as the Guna avatars. So Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So Lord Vishnu, he is in charge of the mode of goodness. Lord Brahma is in charge of the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva is in charge of the mode of ignorance.
Okay, that I understand. I'm asking these very basic questions because I don't want to look like a jerk, 5 years down the line. I don't even know what I'm talking
I
about,
think it is very important to ask questions, Mataji, because if we have doubts, then we don't understand the philosophy properly and we cannot progress nicely. But even if they're basic doubts, it's always good to bring it up and discuss them. So, in that sense, like he is um, like in that sense, like Lord Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, like when they refer to them like that, like in that sense, like they're guna avatars, and that's what people refer to usually as Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. But at the same time, like through the books of Srila Prabhupada, it becomes very, very clear that although sometimes he is referred to with Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, he is very unique in the sense that he is the cause of all causes. He is the first cause from which everything happens. So,
okay. He's
so
both then.
he is not a demigod. He is not a demigod. Like we cannot put him in the category of demigods. He is in his own category, which is Vishnu Tattva. So Krishna is the cause of all causes,
Okay.
and he is in Vishnu Tattva, and Lord Shiva is in Shiva Tattva, and Lord Brahma is in Jiva Tattva.
Okay. Okay. So, it reminds me of like I had confusion about Lord Chaitanya until I understood he's in his own category.
Yes,
He
he's
is not a manifestation. He is the Lord himself.
yes, he's
He's not
Krishna
an
himself.
incarnation. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So likewise here, maybe Vishnu, Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead as super soul, correct?
Hmm.
And so, but then but then he has another function besides that.
Hmm.
I don't know. It just seemed like I'm trying to
Even
categorize it.
even the super soul, he is not the Lord himself. The super soul is um, expansion of his expansion. Remember,
Okay.
like 2 or 3 classes ago, we read like there is Kala, and there is Amsa. Where was it? I'm trying to look.
The reference in that verse was made from that first canto, third chapter, the 28th verse. We read in this in the previous canto, but the reference was also made from that verse.
He's just in
There
his
are
own.
there are
title.
actually specific terms that are used to describe, like first is Krishna, from Krishna comes Balaram, and then from Balaram comes the other expansions. There are very, very specific terms. Like his first expansions are called as Amsa, and a portion of his plenary portions are called as Kala. I'm not able to find like where we read exactly, but it was there. Like in the last 2 or 3 classes, we discussed that um, Kala and Amsa.
Okay. It's still,
So what basically it means is that in very simple terms, Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Okay, and when he expands as um, like Purusha avatars, so those Purusha avatars are actually his um, Kala expansions, because they're portions of the plenary portions. That means they're a small part of his part.
okay. That makes sense too. I think I wasn't asking that question. I needed to ask that question a couple of classes back and I didn't do it. And see, I end up getting confused then. Okay, parts of the part.
Mhm. Mhm.
Even though I understand the reading, it's still, I'm trying to understand Vishnu because I think right from the get-go, I would have questions about that. And I just was, I think, a little embarrassed to ask those questions because it seems obvious to everyone else, but it doesn't seem obvious to me. Now I understand that he's in a category of his own, Lord Vishnu.
Here, Mataji, I found one reference. So here is the same reference to the same verse that Premarasa was saying. It is in Canto 1, Chapter 3, verse 28. Ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So this is a very, very important verse. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists. So, in reference to that, Prabhupada is explaining the list of different incarnations in different ages are enlisted in Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is summarized in the last verse, Ete. Ete means all these. Ete cha amsa kala. Amsa means plenary, partial, expansion. And kala, expansion of the expansion. There are many expansions directly from Krishna, and there are many expansions who are expansions from the expansions.
Okay,
So, direct expansions is called Amsa, and expansions of the expansion is called Kala. Then he gives an example. He says, just like Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is an expansion of the expansion. The direct expansion is Baladev. The next expansion is Sankarshan. The next expansion is the Chaturvyuha. In this way, Vishnu, Mahavishnu is the expansion of the expansion, Kala.
okay, that makes sense.
And So what he just said is that from Krishna comes Baladev, from Baladev comes Sankarshan. And then the Chaturvyuha. Chaturvyuha are Vasudev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna. And then again from Sankarshan, Mahavishnu comes. So he is not a direct expansion of Krishna, but he is an expansion of the expansion.
Okay, that makes sense.
So there is like from Krishna comes many different expansions, and when they are expansions of the expansions, then they are called as Kala. And if they are direct expansions, they are called as Amsa. So basically, there are different names for how everything comes from Krishna.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's sinking in slowly but surely here. So Vishnu is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Did you say he's is he an expansion of the expansion?
Yes, yes,
Okay. So, but he's coming he's coming indirectly then from the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
correct. And this is our Vaishnav understanding. Like again, like there are different sampradayas. So, and different sampradayas follow different scriptures as their authority. For us, Srimad Bhagavatam is the authority. And according to Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna is the supreme person. Now there are in Sri Sampradaya, they accept Padma Purana as their authority. They also read Srimad Bhagavatam, but their primary book is Padma Purana. So the Sri Sampradaya, they accept Narayan as the supreme, and they accept Krishna as coming from Narayan. In another sense, it is correct, because Prabhupada also explains that like how they consider Krishna as coming from Narayan. But our pramana means basis of understanding is Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we follow Srimad Bhagavatam, we accept this. Ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. That is our most important verse in Srimad Bhagavatam because it establishes clearly what is Krishna's position.
Okay.
What verse is that?
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28.
1.3.28. Thank you.
1.3 what?
28.
To it. Thank you. Thank you, Messages.
And Bhagavad Gita 4.5 is where you were reading earlier?
Yes, Mataji, this is a lecture by Srila Prabhupada. Sorry. June 10th, 1968, Montreal.
Thank you.
Actually, I remembered the name of the place we went to is Sachindram.
So, yeah, Suchindram.
Suchindram. Yeah, Suchindram.
Thank you, Mataji.
Wow.
Thank you, Mataji. Nice discussion. That was, even though I feel I hear many times, read, still I will forget. Then when we have these discussions, it remind, like remembering again, oh, this is more clarity, and then
Samya Mataji, actually, we all take turns to discuss every day. I'm sure you have noticed from the past week. So I wanted to ask if you would like to share on one day. I think Monday and Friday are open. So if you are willing, then maybe one day we can schedule for your reading and discussion if you would like. You can let Govardhan Leela Mataji know because she usually makes the schedule, or you can let me know and I can let Mataji know also. So you can think and tell us.
Sure, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, well, is there any further discussion? Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add to this? Or if not, then I think maybe we can end for today.
Yeah, it's 6 o'clock. Maybe we should end.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, Prema Rasa, I wish I can't be on class with you on Wednesdays. Because I'm committed to do something else in the evening, and it's just too packed for me. But I really will miss your class, and it's not about you, just so you know that, okay?
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. But anyway, we have the recorded class if you ever feel inspired to go back and hear. But I know it
Sure.
is nothing that much.
Your classes
So-
are fantastic. All of your classes are very good. So, yeah, I'd love to go back and listen. Sure.
But thank you for sharing, Mataji.
Okay. I guess then we'll all get together again soon. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hi.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well,
Hare Krishna.